Hey guys, got a little bit of wind going on here today, so you'll hear a little bit of background noise. But today I want to talk about soul ties. A lot of you guys probably have never heard the word. You may want to look it up. It has many different meanings, both in the religious world and in psychology, and therapists use the word a lot. The word soul ties is a word when you meet somebody, when you're dating somebody, and you just have that connection. That person makes you fire on all cylinders. That person, you have a deep connection to them, deep-rooted connection. You don't know why. And it's kind of an interesting connection. And it kind of makes you really like that person, really want to be with that person. And you've had connections like that before, where you meet somebody, you meet a girl, or if you're a woman and you meet a man, you get that deep-rooted connection with them. You feel deep ties. You want to be around that person all the time. And for some people, that can be healthy and it can be unhealthy, because sometimes the person that you have those connections with is a person that you don't want to have connections with, because it might be the wrong person. You just haven't been around them long enough, but yet you've got those soul ties and you don't want to let go. And a lot of us, sometimes we meet somebody and they put on their false front or whatever, and you're digging that false front, and then all of a sudden you find out later on, maybe this here is not for me after all. That this person is portraying themselves to be a little bit different, but yet you still, because of the first meeting that you have with that person, you still have kind of like a soul tie to them. And it's like, gee, I know this is the wrong relationship. I know this could end up being a mess, but man, I really want to take a chance on this. This might work out for me. Maybe I can work my way through that. Usually that's a time when, you should say to yourself, maybe I should just get out of here, get out of Dodge and break this up, because I'm seeing the other side of this person. Usually that's your mind telling you, hey, get out of Dodge. We just don't listen sometimes, because we're just, some people, I've been there myself. Sometimes we're just stupid. We just don't want to listen to our intuition or our thoughts telling us, get out of here. But these soul ties, sometimes a lot of guys that bounce from girlfriend to girlfriend, each girlfriend kind of gives you something. You kind of like something about each one. If you're out there dating, a lot of guys date and they turn it into, it turns sexual or whatever. And when you start doing that, that even changes it all the more, both for you and the woman, because the soul ties get deeper connections. So when you go through a lot of people, after a while, you're just like, okay, sarah, I'm on to the next one. You know what I mean? It just becomes kind of like that, where, you keep going from woman to woman to woman. You're never going to find a real soul tie or know what a soul tie is, because after a while, it becomes the same. Everyone's kind of the same. They kind of all melt into one. And a lot of guys like that type of lifestyle. I get it. They want to go through 100 women or something like that. And for them, hey, if that's their thing, that's their thing. You know what I mean? But a lot of guys out there, they're normal, average Joe Blows that just want to kind of, find somebody decent to live with or what have you. And to make a soul connection with somebody is the greatest thing that you can have. And it's a soul tie. It's called a soul tie. And there's more to this soul ties. And a lot of you guys, if you're interested in this, you should also read up on it, because soul ties are a very interesting thing. Both if you're a religious person or a non-religious person, it doesn't matter. Soul ties exist. Like your soul connects with somebody. You just, like, your soulmate is the good word, the soulmate. You found your soulmate. That person connects to you. They just make you resonate. They make you happy. They make you happy being around them. But sometimes you do have to break those relationships off, and you just need to tell that person, hey, this isn't working. And I was thinking about this the other day, because I was asking a friend of mine back home about this, about soul ties. And we were talking about it, because we had talked about this a lot in the past, and when we were talking about the women, how women make quicker soul ties than men do, it seems. And I was thinking about that, about the Filipinas over here. That Filipinas, man, some of them make soul ties in like 20 minutes or less, it seems like. When you're talking to a woman, the women over here are in love with love. So their soul ties tend to be much, much quicker. They make a connection to you, and it can be a really bad connection because let's say you try to break off with them, even though you've only been with them for a short time. They're like, oh, you know, I really love you. I think a lot of you and stuff. And you're like, this girl's sick. She's only known me for like 20 minutes or an hour, or, you know, we've been talking for today, and all of a sudden she's talking about a wedding party and stuff like that. And in the Philippines, as you know, that happens quite a lot. And sometimes that's a soul tie with you, and you might not realize it because you think it's money, and sometimes it's money too. Sometimes it could be a little bit of both, because these girls, they learn these things from their parents. Their parents say, you know, go out and marry somebody that's rich. If you can, marry an expat or whatever, and, you know, fall in love with them, and that way they can take care of us and stuff, and meet somebody that has money or what have you. So they meet you. You make them fire on all cylinders. Think about that for a second. It's part of it's the money, and part of it makes them think, because that's a learned thing. It's a cultural thing, okay? And not all Filipino women are like this, but some of them are. Sometimes you'll be talking to these women literally for just a few minutes, and then suddenly they go into that talk. You're the best thing for me, the best thing that's ever, you know, been out there for me in my life. That's what they've learned. They've seen it with their parents and stuff like that. They've heard it from their parents and their aunts and their uncles that are pushing them into getting into a relationship with somebody that has money, because they're looking for somebody that's going to complete their family. And guess what? You're the first pick. You're the guy that makes that soul tie, and it completes them. You know, and you know, I'm not a person that really needs to be completed. I'm my own person, but every so often, even though you're a completed person, you meet somebody and all of a sudden it's like, wow, man, you know, I'm okay being by myself, but wow, this girl really makes me, you know, hit on all cylinders, and I really like being around her and stuff like that. But sometimes it could, you really, even though you feel that way, a lot of guys, they say fool rush in where angels fear to tread. This is the time when you need to be thinking. This is where a fool jumps in, you know, and say, you know, I still need to let this play out a little bit and get to see how this person actually is, because I'm getting a good vibe, I'm getting these soul ties and stuff like that, but I'm still not sure if this person is true yet. And you know, when you're over in the Philippines, a lot of times people are gonna stay quiet. A lot of the girls here stay quiet, and when they stay quiet, that's kind of a sign that you don't have a soul tie to them, because they might have the soul tie to you, but you don't have a soul tie to them. Because if they're quiet and they're not talking, they're holding back on something. You know, a lot of these girls. I mean, there are quiet girls out there, but most girls will talk to you. They'll answer your questions. They'll be honest with you. If a girl's not answering your questions, it's because she doesn't know how to answer the question, because she doesn't want to lose you. So she's afraid to answer that question. And she doesn't want to scare you away. She knows if she gives the wrong answer, because of the way you ask the question, possibly, that you're either going to break off with her, or you're not, or it's going to set that trend that you're going to start thinking, okay, maybe this isn't the girl for me. And she does not want that, because she has that soul tie. Soul ties really change things. Once people get those soul ties, it can even be an addictive thing sometimes. It can be where they have an addiction to you, and that's even worse. But soul ties can stay with you for the rest of your life. I mean, we often look back, some soul ties that you've been with somebody, an old girlfriend or old boyfriend or whoever, depending on whether you're a woman or a man. Sometimes you look back and you say, man, I wish I still stayed with this girl. You know, I had a really good connection with her, but I broke off, and I think I made a mistake. All of us have made those mistakes. We've all made those soul ties. We've made those connections, and then later on realized that we walked away from a soul tie that might have been good for us. And soul ties are certainly an interesting subject to read about. And if you guys want to read about them, it's not just a religious thing. It's not just a therapy thing. It's more. There's a lot to this. When you make love to somebody, and you know, in your sperm there is a bonding chemical in there. I forget the name of it. It's like oxytocin or something like that. I'm not sure what it is, but anyway, I know there's it's called the bonding chemical, and it kind of bonds you. And it does with some people, and some people it doesn't, I guess. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. But it kind of makes you feel more in love with this person sometimes. And that even makes it even harder sometimes when the soul tie is due to something like that. You know, because sometimes a lot of the women in the Philippines, their soul tie connection is really fast. American women, I think there's soul ties there, but it takes a while. You know, the soul ties take a little bit longer, and I'm not sure if that's cultural. It may be cultural, and probably is cultural. You know, I think it's because of the way the American women are raised, and we have a mix of different cultures in the United States, so I can't say that all American women are the same, because some of them come from Italian descent, Polish, Irish, Indian, from the UK, Swedish, Norwegian, whatever. We all are mixed. I have Swedish, Irish, and a lot of other mixes in me, probably too, that I don't even know about. Danish, I do know that. But, you know, these are all part of us, you know, and if you really want to get into soul ties more, read up on it, because it's something a lot of people, when you talk to them about soul ties, they don't have no clue what you're talking about. And it's a really interesting subject if you're interested in relationships and psychology, things like that. And this does relate to expats in a very big way, because most expats that come over here usually come over here when they're single. Some do come over here when they're married or whatever, and usually they're married to a Filipino or whatever. But they come over here and they first start dating, and then all of a sudden this woman connects with them within 5 minutes or something like that, and that's just too fast. And when you see somebody connecting with you that fast, it's kind of scary and dangerous. You want to connect with somebody slowly and get that soul tie slowly after they get to know you. And if you still have that soul tie, then keep on moving on with the relationship. If you don't, and she has a soul tie with you, and you know she has a soul tie with you because she doesn't want to break off, no way, no how. And there's a lot of women over here in the Philippines, they'll be knocking on your door the next weekend or the next day or something like that. That's a soul tie. She has a soul tie to you. And you know, you have to be kind of kind to them and have a, you know, be careful with them too, because it can be dangerous, number one, and number two, it can be very heart-wrenching for the person on the other side, and you need to be thinking about their feelings too. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's subject. This is something I've been thinking about doing a video on, and I'm not sure if you guys enjoy it or not. I hope you do enjoy it. It's something I thought, you know, it kind of pours over to the expats over here, especially to the Filipinos over here, about soul ties. Soul ties is a very interesting subject. I don't know how many views I'll get, and you guys know I'm really not all about the views. I just want to put it out there and see what happens. And you guys can put your comments out there too to let me know how you feel, if you guys are interested in seeing more stuff like this, because a lot of the vloggers are putting out a lot of the same stuff. I don't want to put out the same stuff. I want to put out different viewpoints, different talks, and I want to be able to, I know a lot of people come onto my channel because they want to watch the comments. We get a lot of interesting comments from you guys, and I'm very thankful that we do have that, by the way, that the people, we have people that put out really awesome comments. And you know, that's the thing I love most about my subscribers. But if you enjoy this, let me know. And if you would want to see more stuff on things like this about our relationships and the different types of problems you can have over in the Philippines and stuff like that, I don't want to get into the stuff that the other vloggers get into. I want to get into stuff deeper. And I think soul ties is one of those things that's a really deep subject, and maybe we can touch on this again a little bit more. We can delve into some other parts of it too. God bless, guys. Take care. I hope you enjoyed today's show.